Welcome. Thanks for joining for a welcome. Sorry, turn my mute button off there and may be able to hear me. Um, just glad that you're here to join me for another week. As you're chiming on, always interested in knowing where people are joining from. And so I'm going to type that in the chat. I'd love to see that. And also, if you're watching the recording, know that I continue tracking with the chat after the live is over. And so go ahead and keep engaging in that chat there. For those of you who may be new, I am Tim Fortescue, a IFS trained practitioner specializing in spiritual growth and healing, and work with folks, some who've experienced religious trauma and others that are just seeking guidance in life and on their spiritual journey, because we're all in this together. And I know it can be hard sometimes. And I just want to support if it feels right and however it makes sense. You can find more about me on my website, faithfullygrowing.com. And as we go throughout our time today, type your questions in the chat, and I'll spend some time with those at the end of the live. I really enjoy engaging with your questions, and so type those in. And again, if you're watching the recording, keep the questions coming, and I'll continue engaging as they come up. And if you haven't already, I encourage you to, let's see, what are we supposed to do here on YouTube? Like, subscribe, share. And so if you like the content here, I encourage you to do that and share it with others who may benefit. And let me know if you have suggestions for future content and feedback. I'm always open to that because I have a lot to learn. I'm grateful for a community like this to learn together with. All right, a few more commercials and then I'll move on to our content. Just want to remind you that Faithfully Growing does have a nonprofit aspect to where I have scholarships to help pay. And so if you would like to make a donation, you can do that. It's totally tax deductible, at least here in the US. And you can just go to faithfullygrowing.com/donate. And while you're on the website, if you need some other resources, you can sign up for 25 guided meditations based on IFS that I have done there. And then just finally, before I jump into our contents, hang with me here. I have just launched my thematic IFS coaching groups for the spring. And if you're interested in those, you can find out more at faithfullygrowing.com/groups. And if you ever have questions or comments, email me directly, tim@faithfullygrowing.com, and I'd be glad to engage with you there. But thank you so much for joining. And today, just want to talk just a bit before I lead us in a meditation to check in with our parts, is the concept of self-like parts in IFS. And as those of you who have been around IFS for a while in this community, you know that IFS views the mind as made up of different sub-personalities or parts with their own traits and feelings. And self-like parts, and this is something that I encounter in my own work and as I work with clients, can be key, and it's good to be aware of them. Because on the one hand, they offer wisdom and guidance for self-healing. They're self-like and lots of characteristics of the self, that goodness of who we are at our core. And these parts can adapt to situations, providing comfort or advice as needed. However, they can be overshadowed by other parts to where it's not the self leading the whole show or driving the bus. So it's important to focus inward to strengthen our connection with those self-like parts, and be aware and don't allow those thinking parts to step back. But if there's a suspicion that, wow, there are a lot of gifts that this part brings, but I'm wondering, is it self or is it self-like? And just stay curious in that process. And I found that what needs to happen will happen. And so strengthening and being aware of those self-like parts is important. And techniques like what we're about to do and mindfulness and journaling help us to hear their quiet wisdom, but also to discern if it is a part or if it is genuinely the self or that belovedness leading. And embracing these parts can lead to personal growth and resilience as we face the challenges of life. So be aware of those self-like parts as I lead us in our meditation today. And today, just simply going to do a parts check-in. No particular focus other than just pausing and going inward. And so let's pause for a bit. And close your eyes if you'd like. If you prefer, you can also just let them rest softly in front of you. Just land from, maybe in my case, a busy morning. Maybe you're wrapping up the day. Maybe you're in the afternoon. But just take a minute and just pause and settle and breathe. And welcome William from Chicago. I'm in Madison, Wisconsin area. And so grateful that you're here. And just as you breathe, just notice your internal world, internal family, much like in an external family. And those parts often surface as thoughts, feelings, actions, impulses, beliefs. And so just notice the parts that are coming up right now. It's helpful for me just to imagine them around me, still close, but with a little space. And I apologize for the sound. It could be my internet connection. So I'm going to keep going and hopefully you can hear me enough. But keep me posted on that. And then as you're noticing your parts, see how it is for you to look at them. For those parts to look at you, because I'm finding that relationship happens when we get a little space so that we can look at each other and see how that is for your internal world. And just thank your parts if they're able to soften back and give some space, and let them know that we're not trying to push them away. We want them to stay close. Just see if there's one part in particular that may be up the most or need your attention right now. And notice how the others respond. See if they could soften back and let them know they can have a chance too. This isn't the last time that you're going to check in with them, but for now, see if they'd be willing to witness you engaging this part that is up the most. Maybe it's a part that wants to rest. Maybe it's feeling sadness. And if your other parts are able to soften back, thank them for doing that. And then turn your attention to the part that's up the most. And where do you sense it, in or around your body? I notice a lot of my parts as a tightness in my chest. Maybe it's the abdomen. Maybe it's a visual of looking at the part in one direction of the circle or room. How do you know this part is up the most and that wants a little attention right now? And as you sense into this part, how do you feel toward it? And see if you can extend it just an ounce of curiosity and compassion, sense of wanting to connect. And know that if something else is coming up, it's likely another part. Just see if that part would soften back and just witness. And again, letting it know that it can have a chance too, but for now, we can get to know our parts better if we spend some quality time with each one. And right now, we're going to spend it with this part that is up. If they're able to soften back, just thank them. Then turn your attention back to the part that you're noticing the most and that sensation, wherever you are noticing it. And then see again if you could just extend it a drop of curiosity, compassion, calmness. We just want to be curious here and get to know it, no agenda. And what's that part need or want to share with you? And maybe it just wants to be witnessed, and that's okay too. Just see how that part's doing, and if there's anything that it wants to share, maybe it has some fears or concerns. Doesn't have any stories to tell. Often I find that these parts have been saying, "What about me? What about me?" And it's been a long time since they had our attention, and now they've got it. They may be a little upset and distrustful, and let them know that that makes sense, but you're here now. See how they're responding. What do you want to share with this part that you're noticing the most right now? See if they know who you are. Maybe they need a little updating. May not be who that they think that you are. Just see if there's anything else, and let your parts know too that I will be recording this. You can watch a recording of the live, and I'll be posting a video and a podcast if they need more time than I'm allowing here. They can have more time and do this parts check in again. Let's see if there's anything else for now. Think that part that has been sharing the most today or has been witnessed and seen the most today for its courage. Let it know that this doesn't have to be the last time. Maybe let it know when you can hang out again. Then check in with those other parts that graciously soften back to witness, or maybe some not so graciously, and that's okay too. Just acknowledge their presence and thank them for their courage and witnessing. And let them know that they can have a chance too. Let them know about the recording. They can go back and access this again and again with you. Or you're capable of doing this without me too. And so let them know that too. That they can trust you and your system. But it makes sense if they may not totally trust, or maybe they just trust just a bit right now. It's understandable. It's been a while. Maybe since they've been seen and heard and witnessed. Then just check in one more time, see if there's anything else before we wrap up. When it feels right for now, you can bring your attention back to the present moment where you are. You can open your eyes if they were closed. You can continue about your day, your evening, your afternoon, whatever it is for you. So grateful that we have an audience often from around the world here. And I'm grateful to share this with you. So thank you. And I will hang around for just a bit. Hopefully, I live at the end of the broadband in my area. And so I'm kind of in the sticks. And so hopefully this has come through enough so that you can make sense of it. Thanks for the thumbs up. William, again, thanks for joining from Chicago. I'm a couple hours up the road from you, I'm assuming. If you have questions or comments now, I'll hang around for a couple of minutes to see. Or if you have questions later, put them in the chat and I'll continue engaging here. Like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and share it with others. Giselle, thank you for this. Nice to start my day with it. Likewise for me too. And Giselle, if you're on, where are you chiming in from? If I'm not asking something that I don't need to ask, I'm just always grateful. And Cindy, thank you. Thanks for joining, and feel free to reach out if you have questions or comments. You can always send me an email to tim@faithfullygrowing.com. To Los Angeles. I lived in San Francisco for about 20 years before moving here to Wisconsin about 3 years ago. And so love California and love the LA area too. Frequent and down there a lot. Okay, well, thanks so much for the engagement. Thanks for your courage in joining me here. Join me next time, same time here on Tuesdays, whatever it is in your time zone. But grateful for this community. Look forward to staying connected as it makes sense. So take care. Let's stay curious if we can, and be gentle with all those parts that we encounter on our journey. Grateful for you, and have a great week.